Hi guys, Highlander here again. Today we're going to be looking at the Night of the Living Dead 3 achievement. Total of 30 achievement points, and this video runs off the brutal difficulty achievement, which is covered in another video. There's a link to that in the comments below. Check that out before you check out this one. It is a little easier to start there. One little note I'll make for your benefit right from the start is this video has a lot of info, so you might want to pause your game as you're playing. Not only is it a great chance to talk with your teammate, to discuss what resources to share, what areas need reinforcement, what's coming up next, but you can check out the video and know exactly what is coming up next. So we're going to work on getting stuck into this really quickly for you. We have 45 minutes that we need to survive. This really is a sit and hold type scenario. It's really cool level. I absolutely love this level. It's such a Starship Troopers type level. It's based on probably the second best scene in Starship Troopers, and if you don't know the first best, you weren't paying attention. This level is really cool. You've got bunkers, you've got planetary fortresses. They're really going to be providing the backbone of your defense, and siege tanks. You also need to have some mobility, and we're going to go through all of that through this tutorial. I'm going to try and get this done within 15 minutes, so this is just a single YouTube video for you. I'm going to have the replay available and a link in the comments below, and there are other YouTube videos out there that do just have uncommentated replays, but what I'm trying to do is teach you the basics, teach you what those people are doing and what works, and then you can make those in-game calls as you're playing. We're going to quickly go over the level layout. We have one main entrance here, and this is at my end on the more southern main entrance. And then we have my brother TAdOsile playing, and he's covering the top entrance here. Now, on that note, it is really useful to get a partner for this. This is something that really helps because this isn't an easy achievement, and try to find a good partner. Don't try to play with randoms. You need to get a little bit in sync with each other, so find someone you can regularly play with. I recommend either hitting your BattleNet forum or going into the achievement chat channel and hanging out there. You're not going to find someone the first time. Those channels are a little bit thinner than some of the other channels, so hang out there. You'll find somebody sooner or later that has done it or is willing to do it with you. So do try to do that, because not only do you get twice the amount of micro assistance, but the bigger thing is, even if you're the most skilled player in the world, you're only going to have a 200 food cap, because that's based on per player, not on per you don't get a 400 food cap if you're playing as one person, and that really makes a big difference. By around the 30-minute mark, you're probably going to have more than 100 food if you're doing well. You might be even nearing towards 200 food each. So that's really crucial for you to try and succeed in the later game. You'd really need to be very good, and I know I'm not that good, so it's a really good idea. The other thing you're going to need for this level, I'll warn you straight up front, is you're going to need some decent processing power. I've tried to play this on my laptop. It will not work. I'm down to less than a frame per second really quickly, and you might even notice I've had to drop my settings down to medium level display settings so that I can record and do this without too much lag. Now, around about now in the game, we're getting close to where the Zerg will start busting through this alternate entrance. We have two alternate entrances, one in a more northern position around the 2 o'clock, and then we have another one here around about the 8 o'clock position. They bust through this more northern one first, and they do that at the 10-minute mark. So if you want to get planetary fortresses up here, you don't need two right away, but it is a good idea to get one, and you want to do that around about the 7-minute mark, because it takes 100 seconds for a command center to build, and then another 50 seconds to upgrade that to a planetary fortress. So you want to try and get that down as close to that 7-minute mark as you can. On that subject, at the south entrance, they're going to come through at about the 16-minute mark, so you want to start that construction around the 13-minute mark. Another really interesting timing for you to note is that you're going to start getting hunterlings hitting your command center around about this 8-minute and 20 seconds mark, and then you're going to get another round at about 10 minutes and 30 seconds. After that, you need to start getting some towers up. So We're here at 9 minutes and 20 seconds. I know this is a lot of info and I know it's coming thick and fast, but you can re-watch this as many times as you like, I figure. In fact, you know what? Watch it a whole lot of times. But you've got 10 minutes and 50 seconds. You're going to start getting spotters coming through. They're those flying ones that look like an overseer. So you want to get turrets up at your main entrances. They don't start coming at your command center for another 3 minutes. But if you can get those up at these particular points, then you'll be really well set. And you're going to need to get them up at least 25 seconds in advance. So build your turrets at about the 10 minute and 30 second mark. That way, by the time those spotters come, you'll be well positioned. You should also have your bio units, your Marines in particular, on a hotkey, and you should be getting your stim research pretty early. So, and then we see there the spotters come through there, and 2 turrets in the bunker were just enough with a little bit of losses. If I'd had some Marines up here, or Docile had some Marines up here, would have been a little bit better off. So let's take a look at how these defenses are shaping up. We've got 2 planetary fortresses done nice and tightly here so that nothing can just waltz on through. This is a little bit sloppier up at this side, and it's because we're probably not communicating as well as we ought to be, but we're beginning to get that structure set up here. And there's a bit of high ground here we can start taking advantage of as what flows through here gets a little bit tighter and gets a little bit heavier. Now, I've covered that the building structure upgrades are really valuable. Even if you're being your mech-based unit and you're getting the weapons upgrades, still get your infantry upgrades because you're going to have people in bunkers. They're still going to make up a major part of your supply. As for things to research as we're going, medics are really useful, as is the bunker upgrade. I recommend you get those first. You can also have one person focus on medics and then bunkers, and then go for and have your other player go for siege tanks a little bit faster. I think just focusing on the bio a little bit earlier on is probably the ideal way to go, but it's a personal preference thing. And you should be looking to get stim upgraded a little bit earlier on if you can. From the vehicle upgrade perspective, you've got the siege tank shape blast, which is quite useful, and there's going to be a point where you're going to be actually struggling to spend all of your money without building way too many structures. So don't forget to look at your tech labs for your producing structures, because they will have some useful upgrades. The Goliath upgrade that allows it to shoot both air and ground is quite useful, and I even found the upgrade for vehicles slowly generating life actually to be a little bit useful as well. That's also on top of your vehicle upgrades if you're the more mech-based player. So you can see I'm even beginning to start to lag a little bit already. Now, one thing I did miss as I was going through there is at the 13.5 minute mark, you do get spotters at your command center. So you're going to want to have a few turrets. And this might be a little bit overkill if you've got some people that can get to the, if you've got some Marines that can get to this location, but you know what? It helps. So make sure you get at least a couple of turrets near your command center around that 13.5 minute mark. And then we covered that 16 minute mark. They've broken through this south entrance. And now things start to get quite a bit more hectic. I'm going to have to pick up the speed here because otherwise we're just not going to get through this video in time. And apologies for any lag that you're seeing, but just focus on what I'm saying, because you're going to be copying a Nidus worm busting into your base just at about the 20-minute mark. Those Nidus worms are really, really despicable. They're just spitting out tons of units. So what you're going to need to do is be mindful of your base structure layout. You're going to need to plan your base a little bit. You need to have some mobility so that people can move through your base. And you're probably better off to try and keep your structures a little bit more around the outside, because those Nidus worms are going to come straight in the middle and you're going to need to maneuver to get to those. So keep that in mind when building buildings within your base. It's also probably good to have your defensive structures a little bit deeper in to your choke points. Probably a pretty good example is this one here. Most narrow point would be a little bit further out. But the deeper you can have your defensive structures in here, the more useful they're going to be when dealing with nidus worms. And you could see that your tank positioning after after around this 20-minute mark is going to need to be a little bit deeper. Now, I'm just going to pause it. Did you notice that? I'm just going to pause it. Did you notice that there was some shaking of the screen there before the adjutant started to declare that there was seismic interference? As soon as you see that shaking, start reacting. A nidus worm is coming to the middle of your base. Get your bio ball there, stim them, run them there, and focus fire that nidus worm. They start with only 2,500 HP. That definitely does get a lot larger later on, but just focus fire that nidus. The things that they're spitting out, sure, they're dealing damage, but you just need to get rid of that nidus as quickly as you can to prevent those extra ones coming out. If you've got planetaries nearby, their splash damage will hopefully take care of enough of those units as they come through. But they really, really hurt. You need to kill those niduses as quickly as possible. So we have that 20-minute nidus. We have a 23-minute stank. So those stanks are huge. They just march on through to one of your entrances and they start just slaughtering stuff left, right, and center. So get everything you can to the stank. Go kill the stank. Every time you see a stank, every time you see a nidus, forget whose is what. Forget that's my area, that's my wall, that's my teammate's wall. Get your stuff there to defend. Have some fast moving units, probably your bio ball and anything else you happen to have, and get them there to deal with it. As you start stockpiling minerals, you're going to be running out of things to spend them on. Get planetary fortresses right throughout your base. Start getting siege tanks right throughout your base. And I'm going to rattle off the rest of these times. We have a 24-minute and a half nidus. We've got a 27-minute stank. We've got a 32-minute nidus. We have a 33-minute stank. We have a 36-minute stank. We have a 38-minute nidus. We have a 39-minute stank. We have a 41-minute nidus, a 43-minute stank, and that's the last stank that you face. And we have a 44-minute nidus. Now, one thing I'm going to cut to here is just to see how things look at this towards the end of the game. You can see how dense our base is. We've got bunkers right throughout the middle of our base. We have planetary fortresses everywhere. This is the sort of infrastructure that you need. Yet, we're trying to keep as much space as we can. We're trying to keep some channels where stuff can flow through. You'll also find that at this later stage, you're just going to need to start using SCVs all over the place to repair. Don't worry if earlier on you've oversaturated your mineral line just a little bit. You're going to be using those SCVs. So this is pretty much the last wave that's coming through. We're just pretty much waiting for that 44-minute nidus to come through. And there we go, there's the shaking ground. We're getting ready to react. And where's it going to be? Press space to get to that nidus. Because space is that one that the hotkey for the most recent event. So 5,500 HP. He's landed right in the middle of some planetary fortresses, which is kind of something that's going to happen anyways when you have that many. We've got SCVs marching on it. We've got SCVs trying to repair. They're trying to attack. They're doing everything. We've got siege tanks everywhere. Stuff everywhere. This level's so crazy. It's fantastic. And that nidus is dead. We don't care anymore. It's about just keeping your army alive. Retreat to one entrance if you're really desperate at this stage. So, lag. So you can just consolidate at one point. As long as you have one building survive after you've killed that, then you've won. And you can see now we're at level 16. Great, that we've done it. You'll note that I had 145 food at the end. And TAdOsile, yeah, we both had 145 food by this end stage. So if we were just one person, that really would be quite the challenge. Other than that, guys, I hope that's everything you need. If you If I've missed out on anything, check out either the replay below and you can watch it all firsthand, or add something in the comments, ask me any questions, I'll be back to answer them whenever I can. So thanks very much and best of luck.